In 1991, as one of these initiatives, the Northwest declared itself as the Republic of Somaliland. A working government was restored, and a decade of bloodshed and chaos came to an end. Although recently Somalia's political landscape has changed with the election of a new central government, there are valuable lessons to be learned from Somaliland's development over the last decade. This film attempts to capture the process that has brought peace to this part of Somalia.
The people of Somaliland realized that they're not going to wait for anybody. They're not going to wait for international community. That they're going to go ahead and build their own societies, their own homes, their own lives. They went ahead and just began to work. No aid, no assistance of any shape. They went ahead and built their own homes, their own community. The city you see at the present time is built by the people, and people power, people resource. The private sector, it's thriving, it's moving. That's what it's getting the government going, the public going. You see the peace. It's really a credit to the Somaliland people. No international community, none in my viewpoint, owes that credit to it.
We managed to totally demobilize the clan militias and incorporate them into our security forces. So we were able to collect all those horrible machines of destruction, like battle wagons, because the country was awash with arms. This is a very expensive venture. It consumes about 80% of the government revenue, but it's worth paying.
However, peace did not come automatically. During the first 4 years after the defeat of Siad Barre, Somaliland underwent a series of intra-clan battles for control of resources and power. In order to end these struggles and achieve sustainable and lasting peace, the people of Somaliland went back to the traditional peace process. This process is based on including all the stakeholders in the debate and agreement on peace issues. Firstly, peace had to be established between the major clans in the north, which divided into those who had supported the Barre regime and those who'd fought against it. Once this was achieved, more conferences were held to manage intra-clan fighting. The series of peace talks was convened by the traditional elders called Gurti of the northern clans and succeeded in resolving armed conflicts which had been breaking out sporadically.
Follow this, what you might call bottom-up approach, grassroots level approach, solving contradictions between the various neighboring clans in the traditional way. And from there we moved into what you call the shir. This is a massive conference with thousands of participants, everybody participating in the decision making.
The peace talks were successful in compensating groups which had lost livestock or kinsmen, selecting a new president of Somaliland, establishing security arrangements in the region, and formulating a national peace charter. The intellectual elite was drawn into work alongside the elders to help with hammering out technical problems relating to local administration, as well as the drafting of accords. Thus, a blending of old and new conflict resolution management was achieved.
I remember in the Boroma conference, which took not 3-4 days, months, people sitting there, months, negotiating and discussing. And when they hit a block, saying, let's come back tomorrow, let us look at it this way. I remember the elders and the people who were meeting in Boroma did not even have food to eat. And in some instances, calls were coming to us in which the people were saying, this long period of time in which they, could you please guys look for something they can eat? Time was not European time. It was African time. It was Somaliland time. People were taking the time to iron out issues, to find consensus.
With many parts of society working towards peace, smaller bilateral peace meetings between reconciling clans eventually culminated in a meeting of over 400 participants. This conference managed to produce an accord to institutionalize the ceasefire through promotion of free movement, free trade, access to common grazing and water sources, and resolution of property disputes. Slowly but surely, the different fractions of leadership have evolved into a government. People have come to respect the government's role in mediation and are supporting its developing institutions. The peace conferences developed the basis of a social compact, lahaayeen, which ensures that the government rules by consent and provides checks and balances to prevent the abuse of power.
The Somali style of democracy is based on consensus. And what we find in most of the Western democracies is a type of governance based on majority rule. Consensus is very unwieldy. It's slow to develop. There's many drawbacks. But majority rule, certainly this stage in Somalia or Somaliland, does not work. Any group, in a sense, carries a veto. If it doesn't like an agreement, it can opt out. And in an extreme case, this can lead to conflict. In Somaliland, particularly the last war, 1994 to 96, really had to do with a group saying, we don't agree with this charter, with this hair. We don't agree with the way it's been arrived at. Initially, they were just uncomfortable with it, but when they felt that disadvantage they saw in the agreement could be used against them, they opted out. And with a little prodding from the outside, picked up weapons, and we had a 2-year conflict. The need, after that conflict, to bring everybody back around the table and say, okay, there were problems with this whole compact. Can we now renegotiate it? Some concessions were made on both sides, and stability returned to the country. That was a need to build consensus again.
National community to understand complex post-war situations and to formulate appropriate policies has improved in recent years, but the capacity to put this knowledge into practice remains low.
What I have noticed is, as far as the work of international organizations in Somaliland or in Somalia as such is concerned, is that there is no much investment from the side of the international community in peacemaking and peace building. Most of the effort is focused rather on projects of relief and rehabilitation. The international community, international organizations are not very much conscious about conflict and development. They're not really conscious about how can they use development in order to sustain peace, in order to build peace.
Any external assistance needs to recognize the sensitivity of a post-war recovery process. Ideally, it should supplement rather than overwhelm existing grassroots initiatives by being knowledgeable of the local situation and timely in its assistance. Supporting these civic structures must be seen as an important factor in creating a sustainable peace.
We should also strengthen the capacity of local NGOs, or what you call the community-based organizations. I mean, these are the organizations which are closer to the people, closer to the marginalized people, people which the international community can never reach. So those people should be, their capacity should be built, should be encouraged, should be supported, and should be given a genuine partnership, not just using them as subcontractors, but they should be really used as genuine partners, and they should be encouraged. They should be, their capacity should be built.
To achieve a durable peace, there is a need to create mechanisms that deal with the day-to-day challenges of the security situation. Many organisations are trying to build peace at a local level. One of them is the British aid agency Action Aid. Since 1982, they have been working with the people of Sanag region in Somaliland.
Most of our staff are local staff who understand the area, who come from the area, and know how to, who to go to, the main actors, who are the, people to, the actual leaders of the community, and then bring those people together. Now, in that kind of situation where people are deprived, you don't want to show off. You don't want to be seen as someone who comes, like a distributor of resources, like, people who are in need. What you are trying to do is actually help these people from their own, help them utilize their own capabilities to resolve conflicts, to manage projects, to manage their own natural system. In doing that, you need facilitators. You don't need a lot of money even sometimes. Sometimes ideas can help. The fact that you are seen as neutral, that your objective is very clear, what you are doing is clear to everyone, how you are doing is very clear to everyone, and the fact that the ideas also come from the community, that they also decide what they want to do.
In Sanag, conflicts between two clans had brought development to a halt. Action Aid was able to facilitate a meeting of the two clans at a workshop on conflict resolution in order to assist them in ironing out their differences. They did this through provision of fuel and money for transport of community members and elders to a central meeting place.
That workshop was actually bringing them, giving them a chance, a forum, a venue, and a chance to come together and talk about the issues and discuss what's the problem, analyze the situation, and then come with solutions on how to go forward, how to establish their common governance system, which means a governance system which belongs to all people, which all of them agreed. One of the first things Action Aid did was to support an ongoing grassroots peace process and reconciliation process. That has been very essential. So actually all the communities saw us as peacemakers, as people who want them to live in peace.
Somaliland has made a journey to peace by successfully breaking through the vicious circle of violence and destruction they found themselves in for so long. People have managed to create a situation in which all are gaining from peace and development.
What gives advantage to Somaliland is that they have touched the bottom of hell. They have done it, and in fact, not out of their own choice, they have actually touched it and gotten there to the depth of hell. They have pulled themselves out of it, not by force of arms, but by consultation, by consensus, by people talking to each other, by an attitude, okay, we will forgive for now, move on, and begin to develop things. That has been a lesson. I cannot say it's a guarantee in history, but it's the best lesson one can get.